extra enthusiasm. Hey, there's people.
Hey everybody! What's
Welcome
up?
back.
Welcome back to Office Hours, Adobe
Hey,
Office
I know
Hours
you.
on behance.net/live. Welcome. Hey, who's this guy? Just
Who are
popped up on
you?
this stream. I like these streams where I have another person because I'm used to doing this alone and talking to like an imaginary audience, but it's fun having you here. Hello everyone in chat, friends, Steven, Caitlin, Jenny,
Chanel, Bob.
Bob Demers. That sounds like a two-name star. Like if you got
Yes.
famous Bob Demers is a great two-name star.
Damn.
Let's intro ourselves. Who are you, person
Yeah.
next to me?
Me is Nick Longo. So I'm a graphic designer based in Los Angeles, design instructor, podcast host, everything branding. That's me in a nutshell. Who are you?
Hi, my name is
Hey.
Andrew Hochradel. You guys can just call me Hawk. I usually have a promo slide, but I don't have it in right now. I am a creative for hire. I run Hawk.co. We do a bunch of creative projects. Our most recent one is Canceled Con, coming up July 11th. It's an online creative event that celebrates the spirit of creativity in community. And so you can just go to canceledcon.com, 2 L's, shameless plug. I am totally not ashamed of a shameless plug. Go to canceledcon.com. You can RSVP. It's free and open, just like this. It'll be on YouTube for you guys to get inspired from a eclectic lineup of creatives.
Excellent.
Yeah. So, but this show is not that. What is this show, Nick? So I'm going to stop talking.
Yeah, just stop right there. It was born from CancelCon, our idea of doing portfolio reviews and getting on board here on Office Hours and talking to you guys, knowing that a lot of you didn't have school for the last few months. It's summer break now, and you still want to get better as a designer. We're giving you tons of great insight, not only portfolio review, but today is part 2 of our freelance show. What are we talking about?
We're talking about money today. I didn't realize this did birth out of CancelCon 1.
Exactly.
Yeah, we did a bunch of portfolio reviews, and we're like, what if we continued this on partnership with Adobe? And it happened.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
Yeah, dude.
And yes, we will be doing portfolio reviews again for CanceledCon 2. We'll make an announcement, so follow along, and we'll make an announcement. We are going to have more slots open, and it's going to be a little more in depth. So we will have that for all of you. We also will be doing an Office Hours episode the day before, so we'll remind you then.
Excellent. Crazy. Yes. And I do believe you and Steven should have a mustache challenge. I think he's challenged you to one on chat there.
I'm trying to I need to get rid of my beard, but I want to, get it going. All right. Enough talking. Well, not enough talking from us, but enough not talking about money from us.
Yeah.
Today is the money episode, right? We are going to make it rain both knowledge and dollars.
Ooh, wow. Did you write that one prior?
No, that just happened like right now. I usually have sticky notes with jokes like next to my camera.
You got the quick jokes today.
We got no sticky notes today. We will be talking all about money, and this is not an episode where we're going to dance around and be like, you need to do this. And like, in theory, we're literally going to be like, there are slides in here that's like, here are my hourly rates for all of these different things.
Yeah.
Here's what I charge for projects.
Share with anyone outside of the industry.
Yep, I know, right? Yeah, so please don't tell our clients.
We're family. We're family here, guys. We
yes.
can share this. Again, true transparency. Like, people have done this in the past for me. I'm sure for you as well, Andrew. So the only way we're doing this is by people who have helped us in the past. So let's get into this, dude. I'm excited.
Absolutely, yeah. And chat, this is going to be a super interactive day. If you have questions, we want to be talking like the entire episode with you to answer those questions. So if you have questions, drop them in the chat.
Because we can look out for each other. When I'm talking, you can look, and vice versa.
Exactly. And I have forgotten that before we hop into this, we need to do a little vibe check. So y'all, we about to vibe. Let's get some music playing in the background here because it is going to be a talkative day. And we want to get a little bit of that vibe going. All right,
Yes.
Nick, are we ready to hop in?
I'm set. Let's do it.
Yes, let's do
Tell me
it.
when we got the slides
Where's the
up.
button that I need to push? There it is. Okay. All right,
Yo.
Nick, you're the first half of this, so please just take it away.
Awesome. So let me get into page number 2. Welcome aboard, Max. See, you guys are all excited about this one. Hopefully, you guys are here for the money talk. So, first plan for me. So, we're going to go over mine, and then we're going to go over Andrew's, compare notes, might even like battle some stuff again.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
Oh, yeah, we
It
will.
always makes for good chat. Here we go. So, determining your scope of services. I think what we talked about last week was when you're in this zone of responding to a request. I have a Google form that's also turned into a PDF that I can use and give it to a client. It explains everything that you see here, everything from discovery down to merchandise. This is everything I want to specialize in as a designer. Anything else out of here might be something totally different we can talk about, but this is a great starting point. Next slide. This is what a particular client that we just pitched came back with. So they wanted everything from discovery, research, to go in the competition, all the brand pillars, a logo system, packaging, merch, and environmental graphics. That's a great one to add, especially if you're doing something in that zone of a restaurant or a place of business. Always add that in there. It's a great one.
So it looks like you're talking through, like, here are the pieces or things that I do, and then allowing them to choose those and then quoting on what they choose.
Yes, because here's a tip. They might only need the first 4, but I can bundle it out as phase 1, but they are well aware I can do the next. And in fact, a lot of times it's almost a natural progression that you just go to phase 2 because you've already talked about it at the very beginning, right? So that's my way of kind of sneak peeking all the other things that we can do down the road. So this is what they agreed to. So the next slide is basically my crunching of numbers. So this will be, I want you to see too that this came after a long period of time of evolving how I do things. Full disclosure too, I use FreshBooks as my online accounting software, and it allows you, there's free ones, there's paid ones, there's all different kinds. I recommend looking at one of these because it keeps you online cloud synced. So I can go on another computer, I can go on my iPad and log on my phone and get all these numbers 100%.
Yep.
This is how detailed I get. So even in discovery and development, you can see I've got 4 or 5 things that I really tell them. I don't want them to just see my price and go, what is that for? I want them to see detailed execution of what it is. So you can see it's got everything from the questionnaire to identifying all those brand pillars. And I like to give, this is my flat rate, but I have a slide coming up that will tell you how I got there by hourlies. Okay. So I don't want to show, do you show hourly?
No. I don't.
Yes, no.
We'll get there. I don't show hourly. I don't show any of this. I don't show breakout by services.
You don't.
I quote, "Here's the money," and that's what it is. It's a completely different approach. So it's going to be fun to see the contrast between those. Yeah. But yeah, I don't quote out any of that stuff unless it is production, and we'll talk a little bit about how to break these big projects like you're seeing here, and then how to separate that work from maybe production work.
Sure.
And then we'll also talk about how we started and what we were charging and how we've grown to that, and maybe some levels that you can adapt to what you're working on.
Great.
So yeah, perfect. So step 3, we're crunching numbers.
If I'm going through too fast, whatever, drop a question. Andrew will catch it while we're going through here.
Absolutely.
So this next phase, most important, this is what I share with my students a lot. This was a logo refresh, but even if you're doing a regular logo, whatever it is, don't just say logo concept, right? And put a price to it. I found when I did that, people wanted more details. So now I give it to them without them even asking, because I want them to see that as a designer, we don't just shoot and throw stuff on the wall and hope it works.
Yep.
I want to get some idea of who you are. So when I show you my 2 logos, you're going to go, yes, I can't even decide between the 2 of them.
Yep.
That's my goal.
And you present 2 full concepts, right?
Yes.
And that's in your contract?
Yes. This one was 2 to 3.
2 to 3 color logo options, a style, design, rationale. Okay.
Yeah. And then I will show them in application. I will show them maybe within some other systems, like how an abbreviated logo might look like. And from that point, it goes into first round, revisions, some changes, more revisions, and then that final sign off. And that is where transfer of ownership, I put that in there. I always say that too, because you want to make sure they understand if I'm charging them 4,500, let's say for this refresh, I want them to know it's their property. They own it now. I am releasing my intellectual property to you. And that costs money, right? So
Yep.
that's why if you're in that 500 range for a logo, here's a great way to just double it and go to 1,000 by saying, I'm transferring ownership to you. You say that to them and they're like, okay, I kind of get that a little bit, right?
Yep.
So,
and it's interesting how that kind of flexes and changes, because we're talking, right, your process, you're doing different concepts, you're presenting those. So I did a logo refresh this year and charged 2,500. And so you being at the 4,500, but I don't do multiple concept presentations. And so it was just working with them and being like, cool, here's the thing that we've landed on with this. So it probably was less time for me.
Gotcha.
And it was probably less of the things that you've developed supportings. Yeah, it was kind of this, but it was no 2 or 3 options. It was, here's the way we need to fix this. Boom. And it wasn't like ideation creative. It was, here's your existing logo. I'm going to refresh it, make it a little bit better. We're going to add in some brand elements and you're good to go. So not from the ground up creative. But yeah, I mean, it can flex on that scale depending on the investment and the value it's going to bring to them.
Yeah. And another great point too is when you use an online software or anything like this, you're not redoing it every time. I can pull from previous templates and proposals and make just the changes I need to. And also, you've done the work. Once you do this, don't think you have to do this every time. You have a template and you have something to start with. So that kind of helps.
I do it every time. Right? I do it from scratch every time and tailor it to the client. Which may not be the right way to do it. It's just how I had learned and how I do it.
Yeah. And I'd say 80% changes, even though I started with a template. But all that makes me do is, I think sometimes I'm a little, that feeling, you're like, I don't want to open up and put together. I'm too tired. I'm not in the mindset to put together a proposal right now. This at least gets me to start it, and I'll finish it within like 30 minutes. So it's like a launching pad for me.
I spend too much time on my proposals, and we'll talk about this when I get to my section, that like you shouldn't start working until they have paid you money. And I'll spend like an hour or 2 on a proposal, and then I'm like, that money's dead. Question from Cornell: how many logo refreshes can you do during 1 month?
Well, it depends on the rest of your workload and pipeline, what you've got going on with other jobs. I mean, if that's all you do and you call yourself the logo refresher, that might be a great little side gig. Man, 5 a month?
Yikes.
I mean, what you saying, more or less?
No, I think that's a lot. So we'll talk about this when we get down there. So my whole thing is charge a lot for bigger projects, so you don't have to kill yourself doing a bunch of smaller projects. So I like don't like that question. I don't like that question for me, because I try to do like larger quality than a lot of quantity.
Yes. And if you're in that boat, and we realize a lot of you might be in that thing where you're just trying out freelance for the first time, and that you might have all the time to do this, hey, it could be something you do. But you're right. I'd rather shoot for the quality. I totally agree.
So let's keep. Do you want to move into your hourlies, or you'll have more on there?
Again, it just shows. Again, I got apparel. I got some packaging stuff. I just emphasizing the detail here, guys. Make sure you're putting in. To me, I find it works. They won't be shocked when they see that total. I was just getting a lot of shocked people when I showed them my total. So I was like, okay, let's tell you a little bit more. All right. Hourlies. So this is ever changing. This is a base, but my discovery rate is just the same as my design rate. Because I think when you've got your thinking cap on and you got to be strategic, that's your number one charge.
And they're not paying for the effort or the time you're putting in. They're paying for your expertise and your perspective.
Yes, exactly. So 150 to 150 right in here, both for those design rates and discovery rates. If I'm doing production rates, where I say anything beyond this scope of service, if there's additional changes, it's at a rate of $75 an hour. That scares them sometimes, because then they're like, I want to stay to Nick's value-based pricing. And they seem to kind of be fine with everything, and we don't go into the hourly. But if we do, you're protected. When we hire junior designers to come on board, a great thing to do is, if you're hiring anybody additional help, have a set rate with them already. Now you're the client, they're the vendor. So I like to make sure, if before I've told them anything, it's $50 an hour. That's what my rate would be for you to come on board and work with us.
Yep.
And then when I'm doing any consulting, if I'm doing a one-on-one with a client and it's just conversation or my strategy or my idea or my opinions, it's about $100 an hour to talk to them. And that's a great way to start as well.
Yep,
okay?
Absolutely. There's a bunch of questions that just came in chat. Y'all were quiet, and then suddenly you're like,
boom, look at that.
Excuse me, teacher, we all have questions. So going through, how much do you charge international clients? Do you do any international work?
Yes. And it's usually about, if it comes through a referral or some reference, I will. If it doesn't, chances are it's a matter of, do I need it or not? And in most cases, I haven't needed it. I just don't want to open that can of worms. I got hugely burnt by one because there's nothing legally you can do when it's in another country. There's a lot of scam ones out there as well that want to just talk to you and give you, they want your PayPal account. Don't go into any of those. They're all over the place.
I would not even touch it. I've worked with some people in Australia. That's the furthest I've gotten. But they were like referral friends, and it was pretty much same. It was pretty much same rates. And that's the thing. I wouldn't augment my rates from being where I am for another country. If you are augmenting to your geographic location, then I think that's different to make sure that you are competitive in your market. But if I'm going and get an inquiry from another country that doesn't match with the market that's here, and even being, I'm in Southern California, we're both in Southern California, that like our rates are probably on the higher side because we're in Southern California, and that's what the market rates are for like this area. And if we have somebody in like Montana that's a small mom and pop that they maybe can't afford it, I have other designers that I can refer them to.
That's a big factor in that. And I also want to just disclaimer on this, that these came in time. My next slide is going to show you that, but before you go on this one, I was at a point of 25, 50, whatever back in the day. And then you kind of go, wow, like as you get not only better, but as the exposure of that project is at a bigger scale, that's where, like when I got my first big, like Fortune 500 company kind of thing, we blew the roof off of rates at that one. Like so you get there in time. Don't try to get here immediately or overnight. It happens in time. That's just my disclaimer.
And so somebody asked, what are good things to do when you start? When we get to the end of my section, I'll literally show you what I charged over a timeline and how I've grown in that. And Nick's going to talk about that a little bit. And then one more question that I think I can jump in and answer real quick is the junior designer rate. Is that what you pay them, or is that what you charge the client?
That's what I will. That's a great question.
It is.
I will charge. This is what I charge to the client. To the designer, I might shave it off down to like 45, just so there's a little bit of wiggle room, and I'm never at a point where, whoa, I overspent or whatever. But again, just as clear as I am with a client, I am just as clear with a designer. They have a set amount of hours, and if they get over it, they have to stop and call me. So there's no surprise to the client in the end.
And I'll usually factor in that I'll give that, and I have the same $50. Our rates are a tiny bit different, but pretty much the same. Is I'll factor that in and then pass that along to the client, and I will gauge how much art direction, how much involvement I will have in that, and that junior designer rate can shift either way. Or I'll keep the designer rate the same across the board, and then shift my hourly rate to pass on to the client, because you're getting me and another person.
Perfect.
There was another question.
Oh yeah.
Do you think prices change if you freelance on the side versus full-time like you two?
You're still the same person with the same experience. So my answer would be no. Sorry, my head. The consultation rate is me. No, the consultation rate is $100 an hour. I'm so sorry. That's okay. Yeah, we're getting better on this. Graphics in the way. Okay.
Real world professional development. Heck yeah. All right, next slide. Sorry, continuing to go.
So if you are trying to figure out your hourly, one of the best ways to do it is, what kind of salary range of a job would you be in at this moment in your career? So as an example, I'm just using $75,000 as a desired annual salary. That's probably someone with 5 or 6 years of experience. Maybe they've had a senior designer position. What you would do is you divide it by 2,080. And what that does, that's the hourly hours, possible hours you would work 40 hours a week in 1 year. So that gives you 36 bucks as like a target or somewhere to where to look at. Okay. But consider healthcare, consider insurance, consider materials, supplies, traveling, postage, delivery, anything else you're adding. So that's something you can weigh and shift the levers a little bit for you. But just to give you some idea of where to even start, because it doesn't matter. If you go to the next slide, it does really matter on what your kind of overall scope of experience is.
Absolutely.
So
we have some questions. Sorry,
ahead.
before we get into the next slide.
Yeah.
What do you think about having multiple packages versus one comprehensive package for the client to pick between price ranges?
Oh, I think that's a great way to do it. I've seen where I think it's the 3 package thing where you try are we talking about like you're trying to show the first one's very basic, the third one's like full luxury, but the middle one is like this nice little variable in between. Yeah, I think that's fine. The only thing I try to do is like I don't want to discount something. I want to, if they're going to get a lesser rate, it's less bullet points. It's less detailed. So, I'll have a slide that will say that in a second. So I love that question.
Yeah.
Totally
and two more things.
Yeah,
it's real choppy through chat. Can we also talk about contracts, how to write one, and how to make sure your bases are covered? My answer is no. I don't know. I use like LegalZoom. I have friends that have contracts that advise me, and I think Nick, you have a lawyer that does it.
Yeah, and we have a 25-page legal document that's nothing happens until that's signed at this point, and it is built up. Didn't we talk about it a little bit in either last one or week before? So. But we'll definitely cover it as much as we can, or I'll share some stuff down the road. But yeah, that we'll talk that 100%. This is all the money.
Yep. Mark, can we have an episode about taxes? Yes, it will be an hour of me crying on camera. That will be it.
Oh my God. That's hilarious, dude.
All right. Sorry. Take it away. Let's talk about the scale.
Yes. Okay. So where you are in your experience, if you are in the low end, that $20 thing is about where you can start. I saw someone in there started at like 25 and realized it was way too low. If you're in that average zone, then you start at 45, maybe above. Now, if you're in that higher end area of expertise and kind of experience, that 150 range. So again, it comes with that.
And I would even like gauge this to and we've seen a lot of portfolios where I'm like, this feels like student work. That is that $20 zone, that it's like you're like probably, junior, seniors moving out of that, but maybe sophomore, junior, senior kind of age experience is that kind of $20 zone. When you're moving into graduation, internships will probably pay less than that, but going like freelance clients, you can start to push up to that 45. And then once you are on your own doing freelance, you hit into that 150 kind of zone.
Great. Perfect. All right, great. Last slide. Some tips overall using some online software. There's FreshBooks, QuickBooks, there's Wave and ZipBooks, which I believe are like free online services. So whatever your budget is, some of them cost upwards to $15 to $19 a month. You factor that into maybe how you're charging your clients. Always make sure you're adding that into your pricing to kind of cover that if you want to try it out. Be confident with your numbers. Don't discount price, adjust your services. So if you came in a little high and they want to cut back, don't give them a discount. Just say, well, what part of this do you want me to remove from the services? Like, let them feel that pain. Like, it's not you saying, okay, I'll do everything for less.
And
that makes you confident.
Like, I think this is like a big mistake in presentation of that how you feel like gross and like nervous when you're pitching a client and you're like, I know that I'm going to say the words $30,000 at the end of this. And you're like, so the scope is, and you're like trying to justify it for so much time. For everyone that's watching in chat, literally this is the conversation that you have. Cool. What's your goal? Cool. That project's going to be around $30,000. So if that is kind of where your budget is, great. If not, then like I totally have other designers that I can recommend to you. Like, it makes it awkward for so much less time. And you're going to get to that awkward, like giant number anyways. So just go for it.
Yeah. Someone was just saying, sometimes I feel like my designs are good enough for a little bit more. So always shoot a little bit more. I think the best part of this, guys, is you can play with these numbers every time a new opportunity comes up. Shoot for, someone always told me, like, add more each time you put in a request for something.
Keep raising your rates until people say no.
Yep. That's being confident. There you go.
Yeah, and it is like, and that's what
Yeah.
I've been doing. And when they say no, then you're like, cool, either I can keep raising my rates because that client wasn't a good fit, or I can start adjusting my rates so that it's as they come in, you're like, cool, it's gonna be 25 grand. Okay, that doesn't work for you. I don't think I'm a designer for you. Wait for the next one. Okay, 25 is still too much. Okay, cool. The next one is okay, maybe around 20. We'll try this time and see how that works.
Yes.
Because if I keep missing, then it's my rates. If I miss one and then hit, then I have made up for that last one.
Yeah. Last one here, and I see that Dana even agrees. Upselling. Always provide your extra options and services up front. I've been asked by clients 100 times after finishing 5 jobs with them, going like, do you know anyone that does packaging? And I'm like, how did I miss that? Did you not know that was the next logical step and that I'm your person? So upselling, and I see Marcus agrees too, adjusting your services is number one. That's the best way to get that around. You know, it just works every time.
And and I think that ideology, I don't use, and this is another like difference in our product is because I don't like list by services, I can't adjust by services, and so then I end up relying so much more on this is either a project for me that this budget's going to work and I'm going to help you solve your problem and fix the goal, or it's not. I'm not going to kind of wiggle back and forth. It's either like we're good to go or I've got somebody for you.
Totally. That's really great. I think what was the other thing we were going to talk about a little bit on this idea was that if some job comes around that's just either you have too much going and it can't do it, or there's for some reason you want to push them away, just double your rates with them. I always heard that was a great tip, because if you get it, well, then you just came into a huge amount and you felt more comfortable in asking for more.
And we talked about, and it was our like giveaway question last time, white labeling services. White labeling services means that they are going to take credit for the work, right? It's like a ghostwriter, to where you hear a song that it's like, oh, you know, by Britney Spears. And you're like, actually Kesha wrote it and sold it to Britney Spears to perform, and it was white labeled to Kesha or whatever. So we don't know that Kesha ever did that. And so it's the same thing.
You just like white labeling.
I know. I love white labeling, because here's the thing. If somebody asks you to white label, it's a huge upcharge, because you can't show it in your portfolio. You can't take credit for it. You can't use it to get more jobs in the future. And so if someone wants to white label, I usually will drop like 20 to 30% on top for me to not talk about it and not claim it as my work, to let them have that. And yes, Kate, do you change your rates for nonprofits? Absolutely, I do. I just had a project I dropped 10 grand off because it was nonprofit and I was passionate about the cause. So yeah, there's no rules. If you want to work for free, do it. They say not to, but who cares? If you want to do it, do it.
It's a great way to balance, because if you've been doing great with other stuff and you want to give back in a way, the discount, even doing stuff for free. I've done a lot of that in the last 3 months, just to keep people afloat, keep people alive. If I would just hope they'd want to do the same for us, right? So it's like, for sure, great idea.
And some of that free work ends up moving into paid work. That if you do a really great job, you're like, I'm passionate about this, I want to absolutely kill it. They've given me creative freedom to help their nonprofit because they have nothing. That can become a great portfolio piece that then leads to more paid work.
Yes, totally.
So don't work for exposure, but take the exposure that you want.
Exactly. Well,
oh, that was the end of yours. I need to talk now.
Boom, you are in, and I will check out the
like I haven't
questions.
been talking.
I see, God, I'm seeing such great stuff in the chat. I'm hoping you guys are digging this. It looks like it is. So awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And before I jump in, I just want to plug, we do portfolio reviews on the show. We don't just talk. Today is very heavy because we want to give you this information. It's like one of our #1 requested things. So we wanted to spend a huge chunk of time. We're going to do one portfolio review maybe at the end here. But if you want to submit your portfolios, go ahead and post on Behance, post on Instagram, post on Twitter, and use the hashtag Adobe Office Hours. Using that hashtag will get you onto our list, and we are making our way through featuring those portfolios here on Behance, as well as giving you feedback and advice on how to step up your presentation, maybe feedback on the project itself, or today we're going to be talking about if we had this case study, what would we charge for it? So we'll be talking about that as well, which will be fun.
Excellent.
I love the information is so information heavy. Yes.
It's very heavy.
This has been a super like intense week. So I did InDesign streams yesterday. If you guys missed it, I was streaming InDesign for Canceled Con. We got so into the weeds and like the thick of things that like even I was sitting there like, this is the most boring class, but it's so intense for like the details. So yeah, if you want to learn InDesign in like hardcore ways, go check out that video from yesterday.
You know, it's funny. You could ask any of my students. Anytime I say something about what I charged a client or put out a number, everybody goes from this to like, huh? Yep. Are we talking numbers? Like,
exactly.
It's true. Yep. These are the conversations we need to have.
Yeah. We all want to make more money, and we should do that.
Yeah.
All right.
You ready?
So my plan, I feel like I have like the bohemian, like hippie version of, of this. So we are going to hop in. I'm going to walk you through my process. It's very unconventional. I like to go after big clients and giant projects. I very much like to create realities. That's why I got into design, is I like to construct full realities for people to live in. So I'm not just going to do a little rebrand of a logo or, you know, refresh. I'll do those every now and then for the money if I need it. But I like huge 6-month projects that I'm going to not just put band-aids. I'm going to take you into full like surgery. Like I'm going to come in and redo everything from the way that you talk about your business, the voice, the customer profile. We're doing websites, we're doing physical spaces, we're doing logo systems and a visual language. Instead of just building out, here's your logo and your colors, we're building out full visual language. If you guys want to see how that works and what that looks like, I have on my personal Behance, which you can find somewhere here. You can hit the follow and go check out my videos. There's a series of videos called Rebrand Process. I have 12 videos, and I've been taking a client from intake all the way through the process. I'm actually going up this weekend to do a site visit, and you can watch all of those things in my process. And today I'll talk a little bit about how I broke that out and how I'm charging them for that system, that kind of systematic solution to their goals.
Excellent.
So starting out, I always at the beginning talk about budget. What's your budget for this project? Here's my budget for this project. Either one of those, depending on how hot I want to come in. And then I learn about them. This is something that I'm like, I want to know that I'm going to be passionate about this, because if I don't care about it, it will show in the work. So I always ask them, what are your values? What are the goals that we're trying to solve? For me, I quote on those values. Oh, yes, Dina, we haven't talked about this. We got renewed through July. So, yes, we will be back. Season 2, baby!
Season 2.
So, yeah, we got renewed through July. We'll be here continuing those as well. Sorry. So, I establish the goals before I send them the overview, because for me, that allows me to say, cool, here are the goals that you want. I'm going to solve those goals for you. This is how much I'm going to charge you to check those goals off your list and find solutions to them. So that's how I charge. I charge by, I'm going to solve your goals and hit the problems that you are working on.
You know what's the best benefit of that? I'm curious when you do that, because I love this point.
Yeah. So for me, the best benefit is, one, it gets them on board that we are all collectively working toward an agreed upon goal. We've established the problems, and that it builds trust in that, hey, I can help you solve those problems. I can provide an answer to that question and convert and translate the things that I'm hearing you say into a visual medium, and sometimes an experiential medium. So then once we build that trust and we are on the same page, it feels like we are moving collectively through, and I'm a part of the team. So right then I feel like the client feels like we're getting paid for our time, so we need to pay him for his time because he's a part of this collective team, instead of, oh yeah, we're just hiring you to do some stuff. Why are you charging me so much? Like, this is what I think we should pay.
Yeah. My biggest benefit for that is it removes the personal preference and of the client and their personal kind of like, oh, I don't like greens or whatever, but you've already established somewhere that it's all for this core nucleus of a value and an objective. And now your comment doesn't really mean much at this point. So
exactly. Yeah. And I position that to my clients at the beginning, and I say, this is going to be a lot of preferences. And I learned this from one of my great art directors, Dex Alexander, is we are not talking about preferences here. We are working toward a purpose. And any preference that any of us have, even if I think it should be something else, if it doesn't serve that purpose that you're paying me for to help us all reach together, then all of our opinions don't matter.
That's a great t-shirt. Preference is closed out and it says purpose.
Right?
It's so true.
That's great. Not my quote, but yes, great.
We have to quote your teacher.
I know, right? So I do the goals. Yes. Then I ask who's on the team. So I always check in, how many people am I going to be interacting with? Because if it's more than like 5, I'm like, nope, I'm good. Like I'd want a small team.
You would go with that high with 5 people.
I have a project right now with 5 people. Yeah.
But is one collectively the lead?
No. So well, I have an art director who is the lead, and then a team of 5 that make decisions. So it very much is cool. We have a meeting. Everyone has different opinions. It's my job to translate that all into how are these serving the purpose of the project.
Are you charging more for that?
I don't know if more is the answer. That is part of my overall.
You're asking for it now. So like if they said 1 or 7, I would assume 7 means you're going to be thinking like, I better cover myself here with a little more money.
Charge more, yes, because I know that my solution to that problem, 1, I'm project managing, and 2, my solution to that problem includes a lot more meetings with a lot more people. So I ask about the history. I ask about the history of where they've come from, and then I ask them if they are familiar with my work. That's always a big question. If I get inquiries that come in and they're like, hey, Andrew, we love your stuff. We'd love to talk about this and that. I don't ask about budget or anything. I literally email them back right away and be like, oh, what pieces in particular do you like about my work? Right. And that gives me like the style that they're going to go in to say like, oh yeah, I do want to revisit that style, or like, nope, that was a one-off. I don't want to do that again. Or it calls them on their BS to be like, cool, you haven't looked at my portfolio. You just like saw my name somewhere, and that's not going to be a fit because I want you to hire specifically me.
Yep. That's kind of your qualifier right there. That's great.
All right. Good. So this is an actual overview that I sent to one of my clients. I've blocked out the budget number because I don't think that they want it shared, which is fine. This is that church project that we have been working on together. This is what I send them right away. So once we've established budget, all that stuff, I send this overview page, and you can screenshot this. Here, let me do this. If you want to screenshot this and look at it, I'm going to make myself disappear. All right. Screenshot. Got it. All right, cool.
Was I still on there though?
Yeah, you are. So I send this over, and this is a one sheet to me that just says, hey, we're all on the same page. This is the vibe. This is the things we're doing. This is what we agreed on. Cool. I define, here is why we're doing this. I define a personal note of here's why I care about this, because I want to know that you care about it, and I want you to know that I care about this. So I put a personal note on there. I put the budget so they can approve it. I put the timeline of what the projected timeline is when it will be completed. I put on the deliverables that I think that says, hey, here are all the deliverables that I think we're going to have to hit. And usually my personal note, I'm like, I care about this. So if it goes past these deliverables and it is in need to solve your solution, I'm totally going to keep going and get those things done until we have solved that goal.
That's great.
And so then I also put the project flow that I'm like, here's kind of where we're going to go, where we're going to hit those things. Right now we're in the production zone. And yes. So yeah, in mine, I'm trying to think of where I would talk about this, but I basically work collaboratively with them. I don't present finished concepts. I literally am live streaming the process. And that's in my contract, is that I have the right to show this as a live stream before it is, like, as I'm working on it, and they have the right to use this in my portfolio, to feature it. And I tell them, you can check in on my process at any point in time. You can come in, pop into the live stream, give me live feedback. That's great because we're working collaboratively on this. And that keeps me from having to present a bunch of finished products. I present, hey, what do you think about this idea? Here's an artboard with 1 million things on it. Does this vibe feel right? No. Okay. Here's another one with like some like vibe stuff. Okay. Somewhere in the middle. Cool. Here's a presentation. Cool. We got this. I'm going to build it out for you. I'm not going to spend time doing all of those.
I like that you said too, you add a little bit of your own voice in your copy here too. And I think that's a very important thing, to be personable with this stuff. Don't make it feel like a contract and so like some legal form. Adding in that taste of your own personality is great.
Absolutely. And then moving in, so step 3, put a ring on it, is where I send over a formal contract. That's where it has some of the more legal stuff. That's where it has If you want white label services, it's going to be 20 to 30%. If I can, I have the right to stream it. If you take that from me, again, it's going to be an upcharge. Because for me specifically, I've tailored that because a lot of my income and a lot of my audience building and potential jobs in the future come from doing things like this, live streams, showing my process, getting that information to you guys as an audience. And so if I can't have that, then it may lead to me not getting another job that could be another $20,000 job. Yeah, so I say, hey, you're going to pay me up front for some of that if you're taking that opportunity away from me. I take half the deposit, so I don't start working on the project or even thinking about it in my brain until I've cashed a check for half of the project. I do half up front, half at the end. I've also structured to do milestones to where it's like 25, 25, 25.
Your timeline, yeah.
25. And I was like,
we don't do math. We're just creatives.
I don't get paid the entire amount. So yeah, I do that. And then from there, it's cool. Let's do discovery. Let's go in, start working on the process, which have we done a process episode yet?
Not really. I think that's going to be something we got to consider.
Yeah, guys, we have more shows coming up through July. So let us know what you want to see. If you want to see a process episode of how we walk through everything, let us know.
Yeah. We're supposed to, we got I mean, this is endless, really.
Exactly. So
question for you.
Yes.
How do most of your clients pay? Do you use checks. Online? Do you use direct? You do checks.
I do physical checks the majority of the time. Sometimes online through QuickBooks or Stripe or something. I don't like doing that. Direct deposit is nice sometimes if they have the capability. But yeah, usually send me a physical check.
Gotcha.
I'm old school. Yeah.
There you go.
So after all the process, then we do the honeymoon where I invoice them for any travel expenses that I've had. I send them the final invoice, and then I always send a gift and a thank you at the end. 100%. That's something I factor into the budget that I'm like, cool, if I have a team of 7 people, I'm going to factor into the budget. Here's what I want to spend on a thank you gift at the end. And that's something that it's like, oh, well, you're technically like charging them for whatever. And I'm like, but I want to make sure that they feel appreciated with this time that we're putting in and that they are technically somewhat getting compensated for the extra time that they're going to be investing along with me so that we all
do you have any go-tos? Yeah, because I have a really good go-to. So but I'd like to customize it to the people.
I was gonna say, I always do weird stuff and I customize it to the client. So the church project that I'm working on right now, I built their website in XD and it's based on a module system that plugs together. And so because it's a church, I'm going to deliver them as a thank you gift. I'm going to deliver them those like classic felt boards that they have like the felt cut out of Jesus that they like tell stories. It was like an old thing. I'm going to make a custom felt cutouts of their website modules so that they can do mock-ups of their web pages using a felt board, like a Sunday school felt board.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
that's really cool.
That'll be fun. And I
love to I send food and drink. And
I send food all the time.
I love like the I always use like Mrs. Prindable's apples, those crazy gourmet apple things. Clients love that. And it's great. They sit around, they have it. They think of you. That's great.
Cookies.
There was one question about how do I take payments through FreshBooks. It allows you to do either they can send a check, all the information's there. They can pay by credit card. They can pay by swipe. What's the one you had mentioned?
Stripe.
Stripe.
Yep.
It also has auto deposit as well. Anything they do electronically will go right into my banking routing number that's already been set with them.
Yep.
Sometimes I like that because it's been shown that people will pay a lot faster because it's very convenient to them. But there are those people that still want to do the check, and I don't say no to that. If that's their case, then they have to know that time period that it's going to take to get to me will obviously hurt the start time of the project because if I'm waiting for a deposit, let's say.
Yep.
So that's basically.
Yeah, and selfishly, a lot of people talk about gifts. It's usually for the team so that they feel special and a part of the team and included. And yes, the gift idea is game-changing. On the selfish side of things, I'm doing that to have an awesome case study piece that is unconventional, that shows like, oh, he thinks outside the box. That I'm like, they would never want a felt board of how to put out their websites. But for a case study, that's like, oh, shoot, the way that he thinks and applies these systems is so unconventional. And so I use that as like, how do I think of something that will be good for a case study, make them feel appreciated, and be something that is like usable to them.
Or something personalized. There's so many great online things to do something. Maybe you've done a logo for them. What I used to do is if I created a logo, I would do enamel pens of their logo.
Yep.
And
I
I have a
literally just
vendor.
got laser etched coasters
Yeah.
of their logo
And
that I'm taking up this
yeah,
weekend.
there you go.
Yep.
Like I have a great vendor and they do 250 of them for like a really great fee. I just kind of, make sure that's kind of tacked in somewhere
Yep.
along the lines. So
Please
it's not a
send that
loss.
to me. I want to
Yeah.
do pins of their little, they have like a pebble system. Yeah. Send
Yeah.
that to me after this. Okay. Here we are. This is my slide and these are my rates. My rates look a little bit different because I structure things a little bit differently. So
Sure.
my discovery and design rates are value based. I decide what is the goal that we're trying to get, what's the scale of the company, what is the potential impact of this, how much money are you going to make off of the ideas that I'm going to give you, because I want a piece of that.
So it's a sliding variable.
Exactly. I don't necessarily
yes, okay.
want you to pay me specifically for my time on something that is designed like that. It's cool. In the long run, I'm going to save you this much probably by making your design systems better. And I'm probably going to make you a bunch more through new merch sales, all that stuff. And so I try to factor that and be like, cool, I will hopefully make you more than you're going to pay me. I like to kind of position that, especially with nonprofit clients, that I'm like, here's what I'm going to charge you. I almost guarantee, I can't legally guarantee, but I see ways that I will make you back that money that you're not doing now so that I worked for free.
Excellent.
So production rates 100 an hour just because they work super fast. So the faster and more expertise that I get, I increase that rate because I'm not going to penalize myself for being good and being fast. So junior designer rates, same thing, 50 as him. My consultation rates 100 as well. And then in here I have a day rate. So day rates are for if you want to hire me for the day to travel, to speak at something, to do a workshop with your team, to do like an audit of what's happening on your site, how your flows are. That's just flat out $1,500 a day. And that is higher than my hourly rate because, again, it is something that is
it's a full day on your calendar.
Full day on my calendar, yeah.
That might even be a value rate too. I think that could probably go
that's
up
for
and
sure
down,
value rate,
right?
yeah. Yeah,
Cool.
it's higher than what the hourly would be, yeah. And then last, this is what you guys were talking about. This is where I want to show you where you might be. And then like present Andrew is reaching back through the screen and just like smacking past Andrew. So
you just hit time machine on your Mac and it's going.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never go back to 2011, guys. So here's the progression that I have had as a freelance designer. So when I started out, 2011, I was doing freelance before this, but there's little pieces in here. I'm trying to show you how I've progressed specifically with design and branding. And 2011, I was literally doing brands for $400. I was like, yeah, this is, I think, what it, like the value, like that feels like a lot for me, just like doing something that I love. Like, you're going to pay for this? Sweet. $400. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I can like almost like pay some rent. So then I did that for a long time and then realized, oh, I should be charging a lot more. I think my hourly was like 25 something. And I was like, no, oh my goodness, no. 2016, I was like, all right, I think that I can like start charging a little bit more. Let's see if I lose all my clients. And so I'm like, all right, $800 for a brand. And everyone was like, cool, sounds great. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. Wow, I'm making so much money doing this. This is great. It's going to be my career and I'm going to kick out 10 brands a month. No, that's a terrible, terrible idea. So 2018,
That's creative burnout.
Yes, 2018, a couple years ago, I started charging around $5,000 for a brand. And when I'm doing brands, I'm talking about logo, colors, typography, and how they work together. So just the base level, what you would kind of deliver in a brand standards kind of package. In 2011, what experience did you have? I graduated college in 2011. So I was just fresh out of college. I think I was $20, $25 where we talked about that rate. I was low for that rate. I should have been doing 40-ish.
At least. But
at least, yeah.
How do you know? You
Yep,
go
so I
with
was
what
low.
you know and what's around you.
Yep, 2016,
Yeah.
I was in-house doing freelance on the side, so any extra money was exciting to me, and I thought my value was at that level because I'm like, yeah, sure, it's just my free time extra thing. Yep.
Yeah.
2018, I started to work on things on my own and realized that like, okay, cool, I can see if I can do this, and started to realize my value. I had experience, I was doing good work. I would start to get notable features on some of my work. So I think 2018 is about when I hit one of my brands was on Brand New. And I'm like, oh, dang, I got a feature on Brand New. I should up my rates. Like this, it was a splash, and it was like, it is big. Let's up those rates a little bit. So I jumped up to 5,000, and I was like, cool, this is working. I can't believe I've been charging so low for so many things. And then 2019, last year, I started charging for systems instead of brands. That is where I made that shift from I'm going to try to hit as many small things as I can to I am going to literally take your organization, completely take it apart and rebuild it in a new reality. And that's where I started addressing every little detail. And that's where I start jumping into these huge projects and the value base that they can bring. And so now, 2019, I would quote projects 25,000 plus. And that's cool. I'm not going to do a brand for you. I'm going to literally build a system that helps you achieve your goals. And then brand, they just found it. I literally woke up one day and I was next to the Taco Bell rebrand, and I was like, I'm going to go lay on the ground and just cry because I'm so excited. So then now for systems, I'll quote like 30,000 plus, because I've realized the value that I'm bringing and the body of work that I have, is worth that. It is bringing that value to the clients. And so a lot of times, and I think this is my last slide, oh my gosh, we talked forever, is find the work that works for you. This is my advice. Find the work that works for you. I'm going to quote you $30,000 without batting an eye, because because at that point, I know that it's going to work for me. It's something I want to do. It's okay to lose clients. Literally be like, deuces, I have people that I can send you to. It's not for me. And you can't always swipe right? You can't always be like, yes, 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 because then you'll get burnt out. It's better to have 2 huge projects than having a bunch of small projects. And Dana, great question. What's included in that system? It depends on the client. It depends on what their goals are. It depends on the problems that we're trying to face. And that's why it is that premium, because it is custom tailored to them. And again, you can watch some of those videos that I have on my channel and see what it looks like and the time and intentionality that goes into that, as opposed to breaking it out into individual pieces.
If we do the process kind of episode, that might be a great one to show what a typical system looks like. It's just a way to make a logo project the most robust you can and do everything under one phase. And that way they've got everything, and it allows you to upsell.
Exactly. Yeah. And it allows me to say, hey, this isn't just going to be something that like you'll get now and it will help your brand. I'm saying, hey, here are the problems you have right now. I'm going to help solve those problems. And then I'm going to set you on a path for the next 10 years. You won't have to touch the rebrand for 10 more years. That's the value to you. Like, I'm going to just hopefully fix it.
What do you do for rush fees? Or do you do rush jobs?
Oh, I don't do rush. I don't have time to do rush fees. I don't have time to do rush fees. If one came in that's like, hey, we need this next week because of my schedule, I'm like, cool. That's going to be a 200% increase. And they're going to be like, oh no. And I'll be like, cool. I didn't have time to do it anyway.
I have thrown that out there, and I've gotten a few that way that were like majorly like last minute. And I gave them that quote and they said yes, because they were just that desperate.
Oh yeah. Then the other stuff goes out to a junior designer and you hop on. Yep.
But it's not, here's the thing though. It's not as enjoyable. It's just not. I built a long system and I built a great strategy that I love to do. So sometimes it sucks. You're doing something. And I think someone had a great question. Should we focus as a new brand, a new freelancer, on brand initially? You focus on what you could do the best and what you could do the most efficient and what you're most skilled at. Don't you think?
I
might
agree.
be a website. It might be something totally different. So what you are a master at.
We literally have 3 minutes. I'm just going to keep answering questions until I'm going to cut back to our main screen. We're just going to answer questions for the next 3 minutes. Guys, we didn't get to a portfolio today. Sorry about that. But we will be back next week. We'll be back in 2 weeks to do some more portfolio reviews. And are you guys working on multiple projects at the same time? Nick, what are you doing?
Oh, yes. I've got probably about 9 current projects at the moment.
Ugh, yikes. Because of the scale of the projects I like to take on, I try not to stack them. The church project that I'm working on right now is so all-encompassing that I have two subcontractors working on elements, and then I'm doing all the other work. So that is like my full-time right now. I do a lot of the streaming with you guys at the same time, and then I'm also building Canceled Con as a business from the ground up. We've completely switched it to be a donation model, doing all the promotion, doing the contacts, contracts, sponsors, all of that. And so yes, I work on a lot of multiple things at the same time, but it's all stuff that I've chosen that is fun for me, that plays to my strengths, so that I'm not overexerting myself. Do not take on multiple projects. If each one is taking out of your bucket, then you'll be like negative.
Yeah, yeah. And mine are so long term and big to begin with that it's okay that they're all together, because only 3 might be demanding my time in 1 week because of everything being out into the hands of the client and they're reviewing or doing whatever. So we've made a nice flow. So
Yep.
it works out pretty good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How do you,
Chat, keep dropping questions. So the
How
chat
do
will
you-
stay live for 3 more minutes. Drop all your
Yeah.
questions and we will be addressing those in future episodes. We'll take note.
For branding, are you responsible to have business cards? Well, if you've added it to your scope of services and you are charging for it, yes.
So
if they expect it, no.
Yep, I don't.
That's how I am.
I put in the contract that any outside vendors are on them, and so I will help them, but then I will invoice them for that cost of the printing.
Yes.
So I
be the print liaison.
Yep, exactly. I'm like, here
There
are
you
all
go.
of your things. I'll find somebody to print these, and I'll deliver them. You're going to pay for all the printing, and
Yes.
so I just include that in there, especially if I already have a contact.
Yeah. So your day rate, I think Mark has a great question. Do you also charge for travel? So that's in addition to your day rate.
Yep.
Day rate is you having a day on the calendar for them. Anything else
Yep.
would be obviously additional travel costs, hotel, you name it.
Yep, they're paying
Right.
to basically like have me for a day. Then I'm like, yep,
Yeah.
you got my full attention. Everything is on hold for you for a day.
Wow. This is
And
great, guys. This
yeah.
is fantastic.
Yay,
Look at
I
this.
love all these questions. All right, we're going to stop answering these questions because we're going to save them for a future episode. Make sure that you follow
Excellent.
along. Make sure you submit your portfolios. Make sure that you subscribe to us on Behance, wherever those buttons are. Make sure you go RSVP for Canceled Con. I don't know what other homework do we have for them, Nick?
Oh my gosh. Just start billing, get some stuff out there, get a freelance
Get
job.
some money. I want somebody to come
Yeah.
back in chat and just start like dropping a number again and again that you've made in the next 2 weeks. Up your rates.
That's the hashtag challenge.
Yes, that's the hashtag challenge is
Yep.
up your rates in the next 2 weeks and see what
What
happens.
percentage did you do? And give it the hashtag.
Yes.
love
All right.
it.
Well, thanks for hanging out, everybody. I'm Andrew Hochradel.
I'm Nick Longo.
There we go. We got it. I was like, I think this is gonna work.
You set
it's
it up
been-
perfectly,
I did.
dude.
This has been great. We will see you again in 2 weeks. No streams next week.
Yeah.
But if you want to subscribe to me, I'll be doing Canceled Con challenges next week because we don't have daily creative challenges. I'll be live here doing some Canceled Con challenges for you guys to get some fun practice and learn some more stuff.
It never ends.
It never ends. All right. That's where I should put the
Bye,
button
guys.
because we're gonna get cut off. Howard Pinsky's up next. Hang out with Howard. Bye.
See ya.